You just got a new idea, a new goal, a new dream. And the first thing you want to do, you want to tell somebody, your best friend, your family. You post it online. You talk about it at the dinner table. And I'm here to tell you right now, that's the exact reason most people never make it. I'm not talking about keeping secrets. I'm not talking about being mysterious or playing games. I'm talking about something that science has actually proven, something that the most successful people in the world figured out a long time ago and almost never talk about. There's a psychological phenomenon that researchers at New discovered, and it is quietly destroying the ambitions of an entire generation of young people. They found that when you tell someone about your goal and they acknowledge it, your brain actually registers it as if you already achieved it. You get the dopamine hit. You feel the satisfaction. You literally tricked your brain into thinking the job is done. And it hasn't even started. So today I want to break down why you need to stop announcing your plans, what happens when you do, and how the people you look up to most actually operate. Stay with me on this, because there is a CTA at the end of this video that could genuinely change the direction of your life. Section 1, the science. In 2009, Peter Gallwitzer, a psychology professor who spent over 30 years studying goal achievement, ran a study, 23 separate tests, hundreds of participants, and the conclusion was the same every single time. When you declare your intentions to other people, you satisfy your need for identity. You feel like the person you want to become. And once you feel that, the drive drops, the hunger drops. Because unconsciously, you already feel like you got there. Think about how many times you've seen this. Someone tells everyone they're starting a business. They change the Instagram bio. They make the announcement. 2 months later, nothing. Someone says they're going to get in shape. They post about the gym. They buy the shoes. Week 3, they're gone. A study published in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology found that people who kept their goals private were significantly more likely to follow through than those who broadcast them publicly. Significantly. That's not opinion, that's data. Now here's the part nobody tells you. The people congratulating you, the likes, the comments, that's so amazing, I'm so proud of you. That feels like support. But what it's actually doing is stealing from your future. Every bit of validation you collect before the work is done is energy that was supposed to fuel the work.
Derek Sivers, an entrepreneur who built a music distribution company called CD Baby and sold it for $22 million, said it plainly.
He said, when you tell people your plans, your brain mistakes the talking for the doing. And now you've got a mouthful of goals and hands that are empty. Now, before we go further, I want to ask you something. And I want you to be honest with yourself. How many goals have you announced in the last 12 months that you haven't touched since? Count them. Because what I'm about to say next is going to explain exactly why. Section 2, the real reason. Here's what nobody is willing to say out loud. When you announce your plans, you're not doing it for accountability. Most of the time, you're doing it because you want to feel significant before you've earned it. And I understand that. I understand it deeply. Because we live in a world where a 22-year-old is watching someone their age on a screen with millions of followers, with the lifestyle, with the freedom. And there's this crushing feeling that you're already behind, that you need to show people something. Anything. Just so they know you're going somewhere. That pressure is real, but that pressure is also a trap. A study from the University of Chicago found that young adults between 22 and 32 are more likely to quit a goal within 30 days when they've announced it publicly, compared to those who work in silence. 30 days. The goal dies in a month because the announcement already gave you the feeling of winning. You've got to understand something. The gap between 25 and 35 is not a talent gap. It's not a luck gap. It's an execution gap. The people who make serious moves in that decade, they've got their head down and their mouth closed. They're building in silence and letting the results make the noise. Think about the most driven person you personally know, not on social media, in your real life. The one who actually did the thing, launched the company, lost the 60 pounds, got the degree while working 2 jobs, built something from nothing. I want you to think about them right now. Were they the loudest person in the room? Were they constantly updating everyone on their progress? No. They were quiet. They were locked in. They were obsessed with the work, not the attention. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. Section 3, what to do instead. Now, I'm not telling you to be closed off. I'm not telling you to walk through life alone. What I am telling you is this: be intentional about who you share your journey with. There's a difference between a confidant and an audience. A confidant is someone who is invested in your growth, someone who will tell you the truth when you're off track, someone who pushes you harder when you slow down. That person, tell them everything. Those conversations are fuel. An audience is everyone else. And your goals are not a performance. Here's what the most disciplined people do instead of announcing. They attach the goal to a system, not an outcome, a system. You don't say, I'm gonna write a book. You say every morning from 5 to 6 a.m., I sit down and I write. You don't say, I'm gonna build a business. You say every evening from 7 to 9, I work on this thing. James Clear, who spent years studying the science of habit formation, found that people who focused on processes rather than outcomes were far more consistent and far more likely to reach their goals than those who focused on the end result. The goal is the direction. The system is the vehicle. You need both, but only one of them requires an announcement. And here's something powerful. When you work in silence, something happens to your identity. Slowly, quietly, you start to become the person you're trying to be. Not because someone validated you, not because someone commented fire emojis on your post, but because every day you showed up when nobody was watching. And now it's woven into who you are. That is an identity that cannot be shaken. That is a foundation that lasts. If this is hitting home for you right now, and I think it is because you're still here, I want you to do one thing before you keep watching. Drop a comment right now. Just one word. Whatever goal you've been keeping to yourself. Not the details. Just one word. Let's see who's moving in silence. Comment it right now. Section 4. Put God first in the bigger picture. I've watched so many talented people with more natural ability than anyone I've ever seen, completely collapse under the weight of their own announcement. Because the moment you get the attention before you've done the work, the ego takes over. And the ego is a terrible leader. It is reckless, it is fragile, and it will talk you out of doing the very hard thing that was going to change your life. That question is everything. Because if the answer is pure, if it's about genuinely building something, genuinely helping someone, genuinely becoming who you were made to be, then you'll keep going even when it's hard. You'll keep going even when nothing is working. You'll keep going even when you feel invisible. And you will feel invisible. There will be a season, and for some of you, it'll be a long season, where you are working and working and working and nobody sees it. That season is not punishment. That season is preparation. Every failed attempt is one step closer to success. Every quiet morning, every long night, every moment you chose the work over the announcement, that's being deposited into an account that you will absolutely draw from one day. True desire in the heart for anything good, that's not an accident. That is purpose sitting in you, waiting to be worked for. So let me leave you with this. If this video gave you something, if it woke something up in you, share it with one person your age who needs to hear it, not for the views. Because this generation has too much talent that's getting buried under announcements instead of action. Subscribe, hit the bell, and come back next week because we're going deeper. Now get to work.